Matt Smith here for Sports Talk at the Stadium, presented by the South Carolina Beef Council. I'm sitting here at Williams-Brice Stadium very, very early Sunday morning in the wake of the Gamecocks' 38-10 victory over South Carolina State, delayed by weather more than 2 hours. South Carolina's offense really never showed up, just a little bit in the third quarter, but tonight was really marked by Vakari Swain, 2 punt return touchdowns for Swain. That gives him 3 on the season, which ties the school season record, and he still has 10 games with which to get at least one more and set that school mark. The defense also scored in the second half, but South Carolina's offense never really kicked it into high gear. South Carolina State opened the ball game after that long delay, and a lot of fans were unable to get back into the stadium in time for kickoff because we didn't have a lot of information about when that kickoff would be. It turned out to be a little bit after 9:20, but eventually the crowd got back in here, and South Carolina State dominated the early going, looked well-heeled, well-schooled in what South Carolina wanted to do. The Gamecocks started 0 of 6 on third down. A lot of that is because South Carolina State just looked defensively like they were in South Carolina's huddle. South Carolina did make some adjustments, but really the game turned in terms of momentum based on what Vakari Swain did. Punt return touchdown, really in the traditional sense, to get South Carolina on the board and give them a 7-3 lead with 5:01 left to play in the second quarter. And then just a few minutes later, after a fourth consecutive 3-and-out from the Gamecocks defense, Vakari Swain was able to take a ball that had been tipped by Maurice Brown on the next punt, and a little discussion between Shane Beamer and Vakari Swain as to whether or not South Carolina State touched the ball once it went past the line of scrimmage. But either way, like a fox in the hen house, Vakari Swain went, scooped the ball up, raced toward the wide side of the field, utilized that world-class speed, headed to the pylon, and picked up his third punt return touchdown. That got the crowd back into it. That got South Carolina's momentum really rolling, and the defense would score. South Carolina also added a field goal, 49 yards from William Joyce. He missed a 45-yarder, but made a 49-yarder just to prove that he had that kind of leg. And Lenore Sellers, for the second consecutive game, really pedestrian numbers, 128 yards through the air. Vendrevius Jacobs picked up his first touchdown catch of the season. But more than anything else, the good news for South Carolina, 2-0. That's the way you wanted to start heading into conference play. They knew that they had that game with Vanderbilt waiting. You know that this is not your run-of-the-mill Vanderbilt team. Diego Pavia has engineered yet another win, picking up a win over Virginia Tech. Frankly, more impressive than what Lenore Sellers was able to do against that Virginia Tech defense in Atlanta. And Shane Beamer in his post-game comments flat out said the offense hasn't been good enough. The running game hasn't been good enough. 36 carries for 125 yards tonight against an FCS opponent, albeit a good one, a well-coached one, and a talented one in South Carolina State. We know what they've done in the MEAC, so all due respect to Chennis Berry and South Carolina State. But this is a Gamecock team that's ranked in the top 10 right now, and they did not handle South Carolina State the way that you would anticipate a top 10 team being able to handle an FCS opponent. Now, can some of this get cleaned up? Certainly it can, but that's what we heard after the first week when South Carolina had issues along the offensive line and wasn't able to really get into a rhythm on that side of the ball. It happened again tonight against South Carolina State. So the Gamecocks, they've got practice this week. Vanderbilt, as Shane Beamer said, is already looking ahead to South Carolina. South Carolina kind of getting a late start due to this delay, and Coach Beamer rushed out of the press conference when he was done speaking in the postgame, ostensibly to get going on the film with Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt. So, again, good news. South Carolina fans, your team is 2-0. Bad news, where is this offense? It's the first year under Mike Shula, although he's been in the program, been an assistant coach. He and Lenore Sellers know each other, but something is not clicking, especially with the run game. Uh, it looks like, just off the hoof, Rasul Faison, Oscar Attaway the third, who had a touchdown run tonight in the third quarter. It looks like there's talent at the running back position, but that offensive line not getting a push, not opening up holes, and not really protecting Lenore Sellers the way you would anticipate. A Gamecock team needs to protect him in order for them to get to the heights that that top 10 ranking would signify. So obviously, these are going to be topics on Sports Talk this week. Shane Beamer has a conference call Sunday night, so later tonight, we'll find out more about the injuries, which are significant. South Carolina was down to its fourth team nickelback, and just injuries piling up for South Carolina through the first 2 weeks, not hitting at the right time as they head into conference play. But I certainly don't want to rain on anybody's parade. We took plenty of rain tonight. I hope I don't look worse for wear. I don't know if you can see how soggy even my credential is. And the fans that braved it here tonight got a lot of compliments from both the players and Shane Beamer. But South Carolina's offense just frankly not good enough, and that's something we'll talk about on Sports Talk this week. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen will anchor that coverage for you 6 to 8 statewide, and you can follow us all week long. Coverage of the press conferences as South Carolina prepares for their conference opener against Vanderbilt next Saturday. I'll be here with you with the coverage from the South Carolina Beef Council. Matt Smith reporting Sports Talk at the stadium for the Sports Talk